What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 2, Week 8 of the Heindler Division, War of the Visions Draft League. In our standings here today, after the first 7 weeks, in first place we have MacRain and the Materia Hunters. He's currently sitting at 21 points, and he has clinched his playoff spot. He's actually already clinched a top 2 seed guaranteed, and all he has to do to clinch the first overall seed is either win today or win next week. Either one of them will guarantee him that top spot of this division. In second place, we have Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals with 16 points, and for him to make the playoffs, all he has to do is also, similar to MacRain, win one series in his last 2 weeks. If he wins one single game, he actually has a chance at making playoffs. He just needs some other things to go his way. In third place, we have Ram9 and the Rock Boys and Turambar and the Fire Ferrets in a two-way tie for third, currently sitting with 15 points, and very similar to Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals, if either one of them wins one of their series in the last 2 weeks, they will be in the playoffs guaranteed. They do play each other next week, so one of them we know for sure will be in the top 4, but whether both of them make it or not, we'll have to find out what goes on in these next couple series for both of them. So in fifth place, we've got a three-way tie. JesusLBL of the Strawhats, Maverick in the Spaghetti Western, Spike and Bebop's crew, all with 11 points. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting to try and see if one of these teams can make a jump into the top 4 over these last couple weeks. JesusLBL and the Strawhats plays against Xathria and the Ghostbloods today, who Xathria, even though the chances are very, very slim, is not eliminated from the playoffs. So both teams are really trying to win that matchup today. Maverick in the Spaghetti Western actually goes up against Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals. So if he is to make the playoffs, he does actually have a fairly big say on whether he can make it, because if he is able to beat Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals, he will be essentially that much closer to making that top 4. And obviously the other 11-point teams are rooting for him to do that. Spike and Bebop's crew has his work cut out for him today. He is going up against MacRain and the Materia Hunters, who are undefeated up to this point. But if you gotta make the playoffs, you gotta sometimes beat the best team. So it'll be a tough matchup for him today. We'll have to be able to see if he can do it. The bottom couple teams here, Catrah and Sandrock of 6 points, JEBAW and the Sappers with 4 points. They unfortunately are eliminated from the playoffs, so they have clinched a toilet bowl position, which essentially just means our bottom 6 teams of each division who do not make playoffs will face each other in some sort of kind of playoff bracket format, and it'll be interesting to watch. But without further ado, guys, let's jump into the matches and see what these teams decided to bring. All right, guys, for the first matchup today, we have Spike of the Guild Thunder Gods, coach of Bebop's crew, versus MacRain of the Guild Hydra, coach of the Materia Hunters. Now, I've already mentioned MacRain and the Materia Hunters are in first place. They only need the series win today to clinch that first overall seed. And obviously, Spike and Bebop's crew are fighting their hardest to try and make the playoffs. Taking a look at the rosters here, Spike has Oberon, Resnick the Hoppy, Celis, Garvel, Luel, Raldor, Phoebe, Adelard, Little Lila, Mish, and Frederica. MacRain has Flag, Bearer, Glaciella, Cloud, Summer, Elsie, Sweetheart, Ildira, Regular Ildira, Lemire, Kane, McLeod, Dario, Naya, and 9S. Now, taking a look at the matchup, elementally, I really don't know what I'm going to see here. There's a lot of rainbow from both sides. Spike has earth, he has water, he has dark, he has fire, he's got all sorts of stuff, and MacRain can basically say the exact same thing. There's wind, there's lightning, there's water, there's fire, there's dark. So elementally, I'm not sure how much that's really going to matter here. I think it comes down to the damage types and what you expect to bring there. So Spike, on his side, if he expects the magic damage of maybe a Summer Elsie or an Ildira or something, maybe does go Celis. I think what I will say, though, is for the most part, the bigger threats from MacRain's side are probably the physical damage dealers. So what he will bring in that instance, it's tough to say. Flagbearer Glassy probably scares him off Earth, so as much as I said Elemental might not mean anything, maybe he doesn't want to play Earth because of that reason. And on MacRain's side, honestly, everything he has brought has just been incredibly successful to this point. Over the last couple weeks, he's brought a ton of Flagbearer, Glassy, Dario, Naya, and it has worked very, very well. I will say on the map that we are going this week, it is called the Mine's Entrance. It can be pretty favored for some of those longer range units. Some of those missile units can have a lot of success. So I wouldn't be shocked to see something like Frederica come out, just because some of those missile units can be really, really strong. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into the first match and see what the guys brought. All right, guys, game number 1 here. We have MacRain on the left side showing Naya and Spike showing Phoebe on the right side. So this should be interesting. So MacRain is showing Naya. Does he run the Naya Dario Glaciella that he has been running over the last few weeks? No, somewhat similar, but not the exact same. Instead of the tank actually opting for the Time Mage support of Lemure, we have seen him bring Lemure before as kind of a damage dealer, so it'll be interesting to see if that is the kind of version that we see from her. As I say that, we've got a council buff coming up from Frederica as Glaciella Flagbearer comes over, pops her AoE buff along with her 3-hit shield that she gets online. Celis is going to use her runic ability, so she will absorb any sort of magic damage. I doubt a ton coming up from Crane's side, but Lemure always has that as a possibility. A couple of channels coming up from the Time Mages here. What are they going to go for? I imagine this is a Hastaja from Lemure. That is the #1 reason you typically want to bring her. She does feel, yes, guard Hastaja gives haste and defense up on basically the entire party. It's a nice little AoE. Looks like Speed Force coming up from Phoebe, along with a very powerful regen from Naya. So regen, critical evasion, just a bunch of nice things, and zombie TMR on Glaciella. MacRain's team is just ready to go at this point. And honestly, I've seen a ton of Frederica and Phoebe. I'm almost forgetting who else is on the team here for Spike, and it's Celis over on the other side. So for this matchup, it's going to be really interesting to see if Spike can pull MacRain's Glaciella over to Celis while Frederica goes and hits people. That's what I want to see. Because the thing is, like, if Celis can soak hits while Frederica is hitting the backline, I think this is pretty much the only condition for Spike to do this. The one thing that MacRain has going for him is that Naya starts the fight with hate down. So Frederica will not most likely be able to walk up and kill her unless she is out of range of hitting the other units. But Beacon of Reform going to come out from Flagbearer Glaciella, get some more buffs online for her. Honestly, something we don't see a ton because normally fights start by now, but there's been just a ton of buffing on this fight already. I think Hastaja is probably going to run out soon, to be honest. So Frederica, can you reach? No, but she does get bells off, which is pretty crucial. I will say, with how many buffs already happened, then still being able to get bells off, I think that's pretty good for Spike. Because, yeah, as you see now, haste has already ran out. So this might not be bad for Spike. Maiming Slash comes out, though. 4936 is pretty good. Does drop the healing power. I'm not sure how much that'll matter unless Celis goes for a heal on herself. Because Phoebe is on the other side of the map, and I doubt she's going to be able to heal anything here. I think this is probably a quicken. Maybe it's a haste going on to the Frederica. But Guard Hastaja is ran again for a second time by Lemure. And now the fight is kind of finally starting to commence as we get the reflex from Flagbearer Glaciella. Taunting spell from Celis, so she has tons and tons of hate right now. But honestly, for Spike, like, this Frederica is going to have to do so much work. So what can she do here? She finally gets into the fight. Vital Sharpshoot. Did that kill? No, it didn't. She's living with like a speck of health here. I don't know how much health Lemure has, but that could be big if Naya's able to get a heal on her in time. So Flagbearer Glassy Maiming Slash again. Crucially for Spike, does not kill the Celis, but this Fred is going to have to do a lot of work much more quickly if he wants to win this fight. This should be a quicken coming out from Phoebe, and you look at the turn order, Fred is going to go before that. So Fred should be able to do two things right in a row. But Magic Orb goes, the Runic is online, so it does not kill Celis. That's kind of big. Frederica, you need to put on a ton of damage here. Takes out the Lemure. That is a start. There should be a Quicken coming out right after. Quicken clock turn, there it is. Frederica, can she reach Glassy? She should be able to. She just auto-attacked the Lemure. And Vital Sharpshoot, 3190 is not bad, and removes the haste. That's actually kind of a nice tech here. As Glassy should be able to take Celeste out, I believe. Now, the big question for me is, can Frederica kill Glaciella in 2 hits? Because Glaciella is not low enough to get a heal, I don't think, from Naya. She should be going for a full life. Oh, man, if this... yeah, that lands. That's going to be rough. I don't know how Frederica takes these 2 out. I mean, she might be able to one-shot Lemure here. She crit this time, so she does kill Lemure. And actually, I think that damage just chained, ironically, because last time I'm not sure. Maybe it was just a crit. I think that was just a crit. I think that was why there was more damage. Oh, man. But the buff refresh on Glaciella, she has that barrier online. I just don't know how Frederica's going to get rid of her. And Phoebe is stuck basically doing her support, like, AI thing where she's sitting in the back and she's just going to buff herself. Yeah. So this is going to be a very uphill climb for Spike here. Another full life coming up from Naya. This is one of the reasons that Naya is just absurdly strong at 40 costs. Not only is her healing incredible with a really long-range Diamond Curaga ability, but she has 2 casts of full life, and her agility is not bad for an SR unit. So that being said, Frederica deleted Lemure. I didn't shout that out. I should have. That was respectable, but unfortunately, with the stun coming out from Glassy, I mean, there's just really nothing Spike can do here. It's going to be a slow burn, I think. But unless Phoebe can get in range, I just don't know what she can do. Yeah, and this stun is going to go off. Glassy should be able to take the kill here. It gets reflexed. I say she should get the kill, but she can't yet. There are only 8 actions left, though. Can Frederica get damage into a Quicken in 5 turns? No, not with a reflex. I'm very curious what would have happened here. Vital Sharpshoot, I think, did 3190 last time. And I don't think Phoebe has the range to get a Quicken anyway. Yeah, she does not. So even if Frederica was able to get a second hit off, I don't think she can get rid of Glassy. So it's not going to matter. 3 turns left. Protect going to go on Glassy here. She should be able to pick up a kill unless there's another reflex. And there she does it. So that is going to be the last turn of the battle. So does not get a clean 3-0 or 3-kill, battle there. But that is a victory for MacRain's side. Ironically, MacRain actually won a game due to turns last week also. That one felt a little differently, though, because that was against Jesus, and I think Jesus might have won that if not for turns. This most assuredly was MacRain's fight to lose. I can't imagine there was any way that Spike would have won this in this situation. But I'm curious to see what they switch up for game 2. Let's hop into it and find out. Game number 2 here, guys. We've got MacRain on the left, Spike on the right, just like last time. We've got a Summer Elsie showing from MacRain, so a little switch up from his side. And now my question is, did Spike run the exact same thing back? He's still running Celis like he did last time. But did he switch out the Frederica, or is he still running that? He is not. So he's going Raldor Adelard. So a more offensive presence from Adelard compared to the Phoebe. Was this a super hard call by MacRain, though? Switching to the Summer Elsie, was he expecting Raldor because of maybe the pierce damage from Flagbearer Glassy? If so, this was a great prediction from MacRain. The biggest question is, can Celis absorb the damage from Summer Elsie, or can Summer Elsie get around it and kill Raldor? This looks like basically the exact same start from MacRain as last time, except this is probably the unit resist buff coming up from Summer Elsie compared to the accuracy and then 3-hit shield coming out from Flagbearer Glassy. So yeah, title calling. Unit attack resist for the whole party. This should be a guard Hasteja, and I imagine a regen. This buff rotation from MacRain is just so damn good. I mean, crit evade, haste, unit resist, regen, you name it. They've got all of the things, basically. And Bell's online for Raldor, so he has tons of AP. So really, this fight should come down to, can Celis soak Summer Elsie's hits? I think that is, like, the one question. I do think Summer Elsie has some non-reflectable spells, though. It depends on what she has turned on and turned off, whether she will go for those. Law of Safeguarding coming out, though. Physical shield and protect. Honestly, she's probably going to soak up Raldor pretty well if she gets hit. We'll have to find out here. Grace of Eternal Friendship, so another barrier online. That one is on for Lemure. And is this a more offensive Lemure, kind of like the first fight we saw from him a while back? So movement and jump up for Adelard. He's going to be able to move across the map very quickly. Runic Blade on for Celis, so she's good to go. So she will soak up any reflectable skills here. And very similar to the first game, tons and tons of buffing going on for both teams here. That can happen in these maps when you have a lot of AoE buffs on your members. This map specifically, excuse me. Summer Elsie, can she reach here? I don't think she can. She's channeling something. I don't think this is damage. And Lemure, what do you got? It looks like she might be able to reach, though. See, she might be going for damage on Celis here. She might actually be a little out of position. We'll have to find out here. So nimble movement on Summer Elsie. Yeah, so she can't hit Meteor Plus. So that is going to be soaked up by the Runic. She's going to get 19 AP from that. And what does Adelard have? Ceiling Thrust. Wow, only did 2294. That barrier from the TMR definitely helping. Crit evasion also, not being able to be crit by Adelard. She is not low enough for a heal from Naya, though. So what is Naya going to go for here? Probably a Protect or a Shell. Raldor, what can you do? He's getting in range. This is the limit break, so this will be interesting. How much damage is this going to do? He goes for Chasm Render. 2869. That was very little, and I'm pretty sure that crit. That is exceptional tanking by MacRain's team, and oh god, this is a limit break. If this one-shots Raldor, this is completely over right out of the gate, because limit breaks cannot be absorbed by the Runic from Celis. Woo! My goodness. Summer LC just double killed, just straight up one-shot Raldor and Adelard. And I don't mean to spoil this game for you guys, but I'm pretty sure this one is over. I don't see any possible scenario where Celis wins this. Elegant Spinning Edge is going to look very, very cool. But unless Celis got a magical 140 buff that I'm not aware of that one-shots enemies, yeah, she did not get that. I don't think there's a win condition here. Regen's going to be back online. Summer LC, what does she have? Ruin's just going to take up the second Runic spot. So now there is no more Runic available for Celis here. It's going to take a little while to whittle through her, but with Naya healing in the back, there's just really no win con. I imagine this is a Curaga, probably going to heal the entire team to full. And what kind of damage does Summer LC do? Law of Geno Assimilation, 3819. Honestly, not bad. And Taunting Spell goes out, yeah. It's going to be a slow bleed. It's a slow bleed for Spike. I do feel bad. With this loss, this is going to be a 2-0, it looks like. Spike, unfortunately, will not be able to make the playoffs because Turambar and Ram 9, in currently the 3 and 4 seed, both have 15 points, and Spike's only at 11, so he will not be able to make up that difference in the final week. He will be in the toilet bowl, but props to Spike all season, bringing out a lot of really cool and creative comps, to be honest. He pulled off some pretty cool upsets, including one of those teams in the top 3 or 4 or whatever in Ram 9. But hats off to MacRain, man. Talking about impressive. I mean, his teams have been unbelievable all season, and he hasn't just brought the same team every time. It's been impressive. He brings out Lemire this week. That is a shakeup that we haven't seen in a long time. He brought out Summer LC, which was very cool to see. He is undefeated, and so now 2 major things happen right out of the gate from this very first series. So MacRain clinches the first overall seed, no matter what. Even if he loses 0-2 to Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals next week, he is the #1 seed guaranteed. And Spike, unfortunately, cannot make playoffs at this moment because of this loss. But so pretty massive repercussions in the first series today. We've got a bunch of other really important matchups to get into, guys. So let's check out the second one. All right, guys, matchup number 2 here. We've got JesusLBL of the guild Get Swifty, coach of the Strawhats, versus Xathria of the guild Lapis, coach of the Ghostbloods. And one thing I unfortunately failed to reveal from this very last series was also because Spike lost 0-2, there was a weird tiebreaker scenario where Xathria and the Ghostbloods could make the playoffs. That tiebreaker scenario actually does not exist anymore. So regardless of what happens in this series, Xathria, unfortunately, will also be in the toilet bowl and cannot make the playoffs. That being said, there are some other really cool, interesting things that could happen depending on who wins this week. JesusLBL being one of those teams. He is still right in the thick of it. He's at 11 right now, and if he were to win, he could have a chance of making playoffs depending on what happens in the other series later today between the Turambar and the Dr. Dickhead series. So sitting at 11 points on his squad, let's take a look at the roster. He's got Starlight Elena, Sottily, Black Rose Helena, Locke Titus, or Titus rather, Rachez, Yuna, Cyrell, Rybrew, Mia, and Lilith. And on the Ghostblood side, we've got Sylvie, we've got Knight of Rune Stern, Snow, Golbez, Whisper, Lastwell, Fina, Shadowlynx, Valade, Surges, and Lara Croft. So shouting out any sort of elemental disadvantages, there really aren't any here. A lot of light from the left side, a lot of dark from the right side. So could we just see some light versus dark matchups? I think that is totally plausible. We've also seen Sottily being a very effective unit on Jesus' side, so wouldn't be surprised to see that either. Though I guess there is some snow or some ice on the right side. There is snow on the right side too, but maybe he doesn't go Sottily. Honestly, I'm looking the more and more I think about it. I think the most likely outcome is probably light on the left side and probably dark on the right. Maybe ice, I don't know. It'll be hard to see which one of those come out. But we could have even see like evasion versus evasion. There is an evasion angle on both teams here. I wouldn't be surprised to see either one of these. But either way, it should be a juicy matchup, and let's hop into it. All right, guys, game number 1 on the left side, we've got Xathria's Knight of Rune Stern. On the right side, we've got Jesus's Mia. And looking at the attack and magic stat, I think this might just be evasion versus evasion. Let's take a look here. So first, It is on the left side. It is on the right side too. So Xathria, we've got Knight of Runestern, we've got Shadowlynx, we've got Lastwell, and Jesus, we've got Starlight, Elena, Locke, and Mia. So Dark Evade versus Light Evade. I mean, technically a mixed evade. There is an Ice and a Wind unit in there as well. But, so a couple of different tactics here. So the illusion buff coming out from Shadowlynx. So the AoE evasion buff, along with, it looks like Courage from Starlight Elena and the re-raise from Locke. So more of an evasion buff on Xathria's side, the extra life buff from the other side, while Bells comes on online for Runestern. That honestly could be pretty massive, because AoE damage from Runestern, that hazard render, it's pretty crucial for him to be able to get that off. And popping Bells, you can basically use that as many times as you want. Horizontal jump comes through. There is the first evasion of the game as Dark Veil comes out from Mia. So the Cleric sub-job kind of coming through here. Wicked Pummel, 7116. The Mirage buff did not come out from Lastwell. He jumped right into the fight and he gets dropped in one hit. The accuracy looks like an early advantage for Jesus' side here as Zombie TMR comes out from Jesus's Starlight Elena. So Shuriken misses. So far, 1 for 1 on Jesus' side, 0 for 2 for Xathria. We got to count up these dodges. Hazard Render misses 2. That is brutal. 0 for 3 on Xathria's side here. And it looks like right now, Jesus' evasion build seems to be a bit stronger, but can they hit these other two dodge units? Shadowlynx and Runestern both should be dodgier than Lastwell, as Dispel Dagger misses. So 1 evade on that side, I believe 4 on the other side so far. But Banishka Saber comes out. She does not dodge it. 6231. That drops Shadowlynx in 1 hit. There needs to be a big hazard render coming out from Knight of Runestern. He did it last week. Can he do it again? The reflex comes out from Locks. He needs to at least hit Elena, and he's not going to. He's going to miss. He cannot hit this Jesus's evade team. Ooh, this is brutal. Mia walking forward. She's not done anything really of note yet other than the Dark Veil, but honestly, reducing 0 damage doesn't really matter if it's already 0 as Rising Sun misses. So the evasion is still strong from Xathria's side, but Banishka Saber hits again. I think, does that break barriers? Because I think he had his 100% shield on still. I don't know, man, but Banishka Saber just absolutely obliterates the Knight of Runestern. Maybe he caught damage earlier and I just missed it. I'm not entirely sure there. That looked like a pretty one-sided game 1 from Jesus' side. One thing I do wonder when, it comes to these evasion versus evasion matchups, I tend to think if a team is running like agility and luck runes compared to agility and evasion runes in the mirror match, I would much rather have the luck runes because it also not only helps my evasion, but it also gives me a better chance of hitting the other unit. If you're running evasion rather than luck, I think it might put you at a disadvantage. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I really don't know. And honestly, it could have just been RNG deciding who was the victor here, as we did see a couple of dodges on Xathria's side as well. But regardless, GG's to Jesus. He won the first game. Will there be a switch up in game 2? Let's go find out. All right, guys, game number 2 here. We've got Knight of Runestern on the left side and Mia on the right. So I'm thinking that it might just be a run back of the first game. Curious to see if any sort of equipment changes or, AI changes or anything like that. It is very possible that could be the case. No, it is not a run back. Excuse me. It is Whisper, Fina, and Knight of Runestern. I think this might be over the cost limit. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens here. I will double check the notes later. I think this might be 230 cost. That being said, the Courage comes out from Starlight Elena and the re-raise comes out from Locke. Ruinous Resonation comes out from Knight of Runestern. So it's switch up coming out from Xathria's side here. So not going full evade, not popping illusion buff or anything like that, as Resist Magic comes out from Whisper. So what does Fina have here? She goes for sweet support, so agility on the whole team. And the Dark Veil comes out from Mia. So Dark Resist on the entire party, just like last time. Pretty much the exact same setup from Jesus. And Camouflaged Combat. Attack up, evasion up. We don't see this a ton, but this is one of Locke's buffs that he has in his own kit. A lot of times, he normally goes for the re-raise buff, and then it's pretty much right in the fight. But this Jesus team with multiple lives, and man, the accuracy still does not seem to be there from Xathria's teams, unfortunately. I believe Fina has a guaranteed hit in her kit. That, I believe, is what it is. Aim, but that only did 1164. I think it is actually a physically based skill, if I remember correctly. as one of these Spellblade sub-job buffs comes out from Whisper to try and make a little tankier versus the Starlight Elena, as Locke's TMR comes out from Mia to make them more dodgy. So what can Locke do here? Can he get in range? Yes, he can. AP Hunt will break the shield from Stern and will drop the Fina in one hit. So what can Starlight Elena do? She's going to walk up. Drain Evocation did only 47 damage. Only 47 to the Whisper. My goodness. As the accuracy is there this time from Knight of Runestern. Unfortunately, does not have Bell's Pop, though, so he didn't have the AP. Just enough to do a standard attack to Locke here. So Whisper is online, though. She has all her buffs here, and the damage now with the tank separating the charm. Will this matter? Because I think Elena's going to break the charm. No, apparently Elena... Either Whisper does not have hate or... What? Banish, because Saber just drops Knight of Runestern in one hit. I am shocked. Maybe Elena couldn't reach due to height range. Wicked Pummel's going to do 2k, and it looks like this is probably going to be another victory for Jesus here. I'm surprised. I thought Elena would have been able to reach Whisper, but apparently she cannot. She goes for the Knight of Runestern, and Whisper is a great tank. It might take a while to kill her, but she's not going to be able to deal damage in return here. No, she can reach, because she could have reached that spot last time. Apparently Whisper did not have hate. I thought she started with a little bit of hate right at the beginning, but maybe she doesn't. I thought she had initial hate in her kit. Either that or they already broke through it, but I don't think they did yet. Maybe they did. I'll have to look that up in post-game, but regardless, JesusLBL wins the game 2 in commanding fashion. A couple of things to shout out here. First, I will double check, but I think Fina is a 60 cost unit. Knight of Runestern is 100 and Whisper is 70. I'm pretty sure that Xathria unfortunately did not abide by the cost restriction in this game. I'm sure that was an honest mistake. I didn't get any notification from Jesus or Xathria, so I'm going to guess that neither one of them realized that. I will double check. Fina might be 50 cost, but I'm pretty sure she is 60 in our format. If that is the case, really like the only thing that I would have them do is I would say that either Xathria loses that game or they'd have to replay it. But the fact that neither one of them caught it and Jesus like won very handily, I can't in good faith take the win away from Jesus. So I think Jesus wins this series regardless, 2-0. That would be my opinion there. But regardless, a great series by Jesus. Very well played. I also want to go back and look in WoTV and check out Hate on Whisper to see how exactly that interaction went. I'd probably have to rewatch it here for a second time to see it. But GG's to both players. Xathria, unfortunately, will be in the toilet bowl, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in that going forward. Jesus pulling for a couple of teams in these next few matches to see if he has any chance of making the playoffs by the end of it. We've got 3 more best of 3s for you guys today, and let's go check out number 3. All right, guys, series number 3 for week 8 here. We've got JEBAW on the left side of Guild Rebirth, coach of the Sappers, versus Ram9 on the right of Guild Howl, coach of the Rock Boys. And for these two teams, pretty far apart in the standings. JEBAW on the Sappers currently in last place. He will be in the toilet bowl, but Ram9 looking for that playoff spot. If he wins this series, he is guaranteed a top 4 spot, guaranteed to be in the playoffs. I know he's wanting to win this because next week he plays against Turambar, and if he loses this week and has to play Turambar to keep his playoff hopes alive, I think he's probably not looking forward to that. So he's going to try and win this series as best that he can. So for the Sappers, we've got Perrine, we've got Mashri, Queen of Horn, Urel, Resnick, Stern, Victora, Mariel, Ravis, Revelka, Ramada, and Vadim. For the Rock Boys, we've got Alaya, Eliza, Chunak, Fryevia, Ketone, Miranda, Kilfe, Balo, Uni, Severo, and Joom. Just a quick note on the Rock Boys roster. The teams that have been working extremely well for him are those full UR combos. You can see with the win-loss and the KDA, just absolutely spectacular for both Miranda and Kilfe, and Fryevia and Ketone also have been doing very, very well. The units that I thought would really pop off this season are the missile units. They have not done super well up to this point. However, I will say, I already said, for this map, I would not be shocked at all to see either Alaya, Eliza, or both come out this week, because on this map, I think they could be very strong. For JEBAW and the Sappers, he did add on his supplemental draft that pick Vadim. We did get to see him a little bit with the Queen of Horn, Mashri, and Urel, and then also used Perrine and Urel. I believe it was against Turambar. I think it was last week, and to kind of varied success. Won one of the games, ended up losing the series, but it was an interesting matchup. Could we see him come out again again this week with one of those comps that we already saw, or another comp would be like Perrine Resnick. Another comp that I think JEBAW has been using and I think has, you know, performed fairly well. Perrine Victoria Ramada, I think, is also very, very good, just like the triple damage dealer. And some of those spear units can just traverse the map very quickly, jump up in the air, and drop a lot of damage on some of these squishier units on the Rock Boy's head. So I'm curious to see what these two teams will bring out. Let's jump into it and find out. All right, guys, game number one. On the left side, we've got Ram 9's Severo and JEBAW's Perrine on the right side. Normally, when the 30 cost unit comes out for Ram 9, that means he is probably bringing Elia at a minimum, and he either brings something like Fravia or he brings Eliza. So he is bringing Eliza here. It is the double missile plus Severo comp. And on the right side for JEBAW, it looks like Perrine, Resnick, Vadim. So this is a comp that I said that I kind of wanted to see him bring out. I thought that it could potentially work with Perrine being kind of a one-man wrecking crew with a bunch of heals in the back, as it looks like we are on 2x speed, so it's going to be a little fast recording. Tracking techniques comes out from Eliza, trying to buff up this missile. Now it looks like ice attack up, a bunch of really good benefits that both of these two units can use. Resnick is going to channel probably a shield, maybe her unit resistance buff, as illusion comes out from Vadim. One thing is that Vadim and Perrine both can be built pretty evasively, as the self-preservation buff actually comes out and goes on Vadim. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. So Severo is casting an ability. Is he in range to drop a water gun, or is he going for his Job 25 skill? Normally, you want to get his Job 25 skill off immediately as Bells comes on for Eliza and gets that AP going for her. So will Resnick go for a different buff, or does she buff Perrine this time? The Job 25 skill is online for Severo. That is massive. In order for him to excel, you really want to get that off, as Quickfire Stance comes out for Malaya, and the AoE buff actually giving healing spirit, or healing power up, along with defense and spirit for the entire party. Vadim can't reach anything, and neither can Perrine, actually. They're both out of buffs, but I will say not using a buff normally gives them a little more CT. Crucially, Vadim dodges, but Perrine does not. I'm sure JEBAW wanted to see that the other way around if possible, because Sharpshoot is going to hit Perrine, and oh my goodness, the hard carry of this team is gone. And I'm pretty sure this Ram 9 team is going to run away with it. Resnick is a fantastic healer as the bravery drops on her, but she does not have access to full life. So this is going to be very, very uphill battle unless they can somehow land like a Steel Heart. Speaking of Steel Heart, holy cow, Dominate Heart comes out, but no, Dream Inducer is going to cancel it. The damage comes out from Resnick and actually drops the charm. That is not good for them. Aerostorm of Revival comes out and drops the Resnick. And in this 3v1 battle versus Vadim, I don't like Vadim's chances. Ram 9 is going to win game one here. So the game one win, that puts him at 16 points currently. And so with Spike losing, well, none of those teams below actually really matter, but like for this part, he's at 16 points. He needs one more game to clinch playoffs, because Jesus won already, so he is at 14. So if Jesus lost and another team lost, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I know that he has to win this game to try and clinch playoffs. Can he do that or not? We'll have to find out. Let's jump into game two. All right, guys, game number two here between Ram 9 and JEBAW, and it looks like potentially the same teams as a run back. I will say I'm a bit surprised of this from JEBAW, just because he did lose pretty handily in game one. So I expect him to switch something up, even if it's not the units, which, yeah, it is the same units. So what else does he switch here to try and make this a better fight? Positioning is going to be one thing. Shadow Dance comes out. I do not think we saw this last time. I am pretty sure. As Tracking Techniques comes out, it looks like probably the same buff order from Ram 9 here. And what is Resnick going to go for? So Sweet Support comes out. So this is an entirely different buff rotation coming out from JEBAW compared to last time. So it might be the same units, but not the same build. We'll see if it works out here. And Perrine moving forward, I think Severo is still out of range and still should be able to go for his Job 25 skill, but we'll have to find out. The illusion buff on Vadim is a nice tech to help get that evasion up. What can Perrine do? I don't think she can reach. Interesting. So she does not have a second buff online. I wonder with her AI priority if in order to get Shadow Dance off, if you have to leave that on first. I actually don't know. I don't have Perrine, so I would not be able to test that, unfortunately, as Haste Perpetuator comes out from Severo. That's pretty massive. The Haste, Courage, and ability activation time down is just massive, as Zombie TMR comes out from Elias. So she has re-raise now, and she has 106 AP, so she should have plenty. So Vadim goes Illusion, just basically refreshes his own buff and also gets it on Resnick. Resnick will not be dodging anything, I can't imagine, but these two units potentially could. Green's going to walk up, Subjugating Fist, drops several, leaves him to Courage, so he is now at 1 health. So this is at least a better start than last time. This is the limit break, though. Cage of Thorns, how much does this do to Perrine? I expect a ton of damage here. 8265 and drops the ice attack resist. That is massive, but who goes next? It's Resnick. So she should be able to get this heal off because she has instant cast heals, especially when she goes for the limit break. So this will bring Perrine up to full. So now my question is, can Eliza kill her in one hit with the ice attack resistance being dropped? Actually, Severo's going to hit also, probably? No, he just goes for the backline. Waterga. Vadim's going to dodge it. Severo, not the most accurate unit in the world. Elia going to go next. She goes for Barrage, dodged by Perrine. It hits the Vadim, but this way it is switched from game 1. Last time Vadim dodged it. This time the hard carry dodged it. She drops Severo. It is now a 2v2 with Resnick and Perrine versus the two Ice Missile Girls. So it should be a very interesting fight. Triple Flight comes out, hits 2 of the hits, dodges 1. So I believe she still has 1 hit of her barrier left online, I think. Fight 2, Kira comes out. They're both at full health now again. What does Elia choose to do here? I think Resnick still has hate down, but Barrage is enough to kill her. Perrine dodges it, though, crucially. Her evasion is kind of on point right now. They're stacked up for an AoE. Vortex Kick comes out. Not enough to drop either one. What is the CT going to be like? Can she live 2 hits? Elia also has re-raise. It's going to be an uphill climb. We'll have to find out. Clean Piercer misses. That is massive for JEBAW because I can't imagine Elia kills her in 1 hit here. Sharpshoot, 79. Wow, 7,900 from Sharpshoot is absolutely insane. Perrine's going to go, though. She should be able to double kill here. Vortex Kick drops them. The re-raise on Elia, though. Who goes first? Perrine does not have re-raise. Elia does. Elia, I think, goes first here. Can she get the counter? I think that's her only win con here. Sharpshoot's going to come out. 7950 drops the Perrine, and that game 2 was actually incredible. Incredibly close. Honestly, I was kind of hating on it. I thought JEBAW, after getting, losing pretty hard in game 1, not switching up his comp was a mistake, but that game 2 was actually insanely close. And huge congratulations to Ram9, because I think I was a little confused as to how it would work out in game 1, but now I know. With a series win, he has officially clinched a playoff spot along with MacRain. So him and MacRain are our 2 teams up to this point that have for sure clinched a playoff spot. So congratulations to him. Where he will fall in the top 4, not entirely sure yet, but he will be there in the playoffs for sure. We've got 2 more series for you guys to check out, and let's go into the next one. All right, guys, for our 4th matchup today, we've got Turambar on the left side of the guild, Get Swifty, coach of the Fire Ferrets, versus Catrah on the right side of the guild, Lapis, coach of Sandrock. So for Turambar here, he is basically in the exact same boat that Ram9 was before his series. If he wins this series, he is in the playoffs, guaranteed, and will be the 3rd team to clinch a playoff berth if he wins this. On his roster, he's got Jaden, Halloween Lucia, Lightning, Orlando, Aerith, Engelbert, Sakura, Elshra, Slime, Titus, and Luartha. And for Sandrock, trying to play spoiler, we've got Esther, Pissarro, Setia, Prompto, Moraga, Venera Winter, Silma, Curry, Gafgarian, Sosha, and More the Merrier. So should be an interesting matchup here. More the Merrier, the new supplemental unit. Have not seen any play from her yet. Same with Prompto and Gafgarian. So a few units that we haven't seen yet. Will we see any of them? I hope so. We'll have to find out, though. One thing I will say on Turambar and the Fire Ferrets team, he has seemingly seemed to realize that his strongest comp seems to be the Titus, Jaden, and Sakura combo. It is not his only good combo, but he has been doing a lot of work with it recently, had a lot of success. Jaden and Sakura are just tremendous units for their cost, and Titus being one of the only tanks, really the only tank at 50 cost, unless you include Little Leela at 40, is just so good for his value. So I would not be surprised to see that comp come out again. He's been using it a ton lately. So what would the answer be from Catrah or Sandrock here? Honestly, on this map, going against Jaden with that heavy missile damage, might consider something like Setia just because she has a lot of damage from range. Pissarro could potentially be built to dodge some of that stuff, but honestly, Jaden has guaranteed hit in his kit. Maybe you see somebody like Curry come out. I mean, Curry could put in work from this map as well. I honestly don't know what the answer is. I think he's going to have to get pretty creative to try and win this, but I would love to see what he brings out here. Let's jump into game 1 and find out. All right, guys, game number 1 on the left side, we've got Turambar's Jaden and Catrah on the right side showing the Winter Venera with it looks like a 4,400 attack stat. So who all is in this party? Is it the Curry? Is it the Setia, those range units that I was just talking about? Not exactly. Curry is there, but it is Pissarro, not Setia. Okay, and it is the team that I talked about with Turambar. He's been running this a lot to his tremendous success. Evasion skills comes out from Pissarro, excuse me, as the agility buff coming out from Jaden, getting his own magic up as well. And what does Sakura go? She's channeling something. So this is either nimble movement. No, it's heart like needles. Okay, getting magic attack up on both, getting her own spirit piercing rate up. That might be useful because Winter Venera can be a pretty good magic tank as she goes for the more the merrier TMR, getting crit evade and shell. That's actually a very good technique going against Turambar's team, who is very magic damage focused. Bells from Curry is pretty massive too. May be able to get some of those frost mob barrages off on the team. I will say, though, with the missile damage coming out from Curry, probably going to be negated pretty hard from Titus. He is known for being able to be a very effective missile and pierce damage tank. Would not be surprised for him to tank that up. And Tracker comes out. I believe this is the Lara Croft TMR. Wake Up Impact, I do not remember exactly whose that is. It makes me think that it's Summer Elsie, but I don't know if it actually is. Good Fortune, again, the refresh. So now the whole team has the shell and crit evade buff. Curry can probably reach here. He has pretty insane range. He can sharpshoot. I actually couldn't see how much damage that did because the character portrait was ahead, but I'm looking at Titus's health bar and it was basically not touched. So I don't know how much that did, but I think it was less than 1,000. Magiblast Plus comes out. That was a lot. It didn't one-shot anybody, but that was a lot of damage, and it apparently has the accuracy to hit Pissarro here. Stalker not in range to do anything. What can Pissarro do? Titus is weak to slash damage, but that looks like pretty effective tanking coming up from Turambar's side. I'm sure he has mitigated some of that weak slash resistance, and he also has that physical barrier online. Sharpshoot comes out 1491, so I expect that it was probably somewhere around there on the first hit. Magiblast Plus comes out, drops the Curry. And this team for Turambar is very, very effective, and on this map, it's going to be very hard to deal with for Catrah. He's going to have to come out with something creative, I think, because this fight is going to be hard to win. Grease Lightning, how much damage can he do? 4212. I don't think that kills him. It does not. Heart Like Needles refresh. Sakura just channeling more buffs over and over again because she can't reach yet. Saintly Fortress refresh as well, so his shield is back online, getting more hate on himself. Looks like he is unable to hit Pissarro because he did not even try to attack. Discontinuum Plus comes out, kills him. It is now a 2v2, but unless he can dodge like crazy, I just don't see it. Breathing Technique comes out from Winter Venera, so she's going to heal herself up a little bit. And Sakura, can she hit? That is the question. I did not see any movement from Catrah's side. I assume this is a very accurate heavy build from Turambar. It looks like all of the hits connect. Procs the Courage from Pissarro. What is the CT looking like? Jaden goes first. Unerring shot's going to come through, and that is a kill, and that is a game 1 victory for Turambar. So he is 1 game away currently from clinching a playoff berth. He is going to try and win game 2 against Catrah to clinch that position. So for Catrah, what can he bring out here to try and spoil that run for Turambar here? I do think it's really, really hard. Honestly, I don't know what he brings here because you have to be able to get through Titus. And how do you do that? That's a great question. I don't know what the answer to this is. I'm curious to see what he brought for game 2. I'm sure he will adjust something, and let's go and find out. Number 2 here, guys, looks like Turambar on the left side, Catrah on the right. Not much of a loading screen here on this video that they sent me, but I did see a Jaden who was on the right side here. It was Sosha with Setia, more than merrier. Okay, so a couple of 90 cost units and a 40 here from Catrah. Magiblast Plus comes out immediately, 5618. Sosha does live it, crucially. But will that be good or bad for Catrah? That could be good if the buff does not come up from Turambar's Jaden. Might burn some AP, and oh my god, Thermal Explosion. Basically doing the exact same thing that Jaden just did. High Octane match right out of the gate. And Sakura is down to like 40% HP right now. Setia is going to be out of AP, though, unless she could do that again. Can Sosha reach? Can Sosha reach Sakura here? Because that would be pretty massive. She's jumping up in the air. I don't know who this is for here. I imagine it's Titus, but maybe she can reach. No, it's Silencing Jump on Jaden. The silence does not land. Crucially, Magiblast Plus comes out again. He has enough AP for it and drops the Setia. Oh, man. he is basically out of AP, but this is going to be a hard comeback with the reflex. Wait a minute, that could be massive. Sosha living one more hit could be huge here, depending on what Sosha could do with her next attack here. More Than Merrier is going to step up. What can she do? This should be an AoE, I think. I think this hits Sakura. Festival of Flying Fortunes. Does her best Kamehameha impression. 58-35, drops a Sakura. Silences Titus. That part really doesn't matter, but does get him low. Oh my god, Sosha's out of AP. Oh man, she drops her hate. She's going to move forward, but she's right next to More Than Merrier. Another reflex, though. She is trying her damned hardest here. Jaden, I think, is out of AP, right? He is only 8. Autos the Sosha, but can More Than Merrier find an AoE here? They're pretty far apart. I don't know, man. Vitiation, I think is what it's called. She's going to drop the Titus. What is the CT like? Can Jaden take her out in one hit? That is basically the question. Unerring shot, 5,700. It's going to drop her, and she is dead. She was not able to get that re-raise off on herself, and Turambar is going to win a very close game 2. So almost in exact same fashion as the Ram 9 series. A very one-sided game 1, an incredibly close game 2. But Turambar, just like Ram 9, is going to clinch his spot in the playoffs. He's going to punch his ticket for it. So very, very interesting series here today. And honestly, 3 out of 4 playoff spots already decided. We've got one more series for you guys to get into to find out if that final playoff spot gets claimed. And let's jump into it. All right, guys, for our final series of week 8 and the final matchup to find out, will the 4th team of the playoffs be finally clinched here? We've got Dr. Dickhead on the left side here of the Guild Lapis, coach of the Foolish Mortals, versus Maverick of the Guild Vandals, coach of the Spaghetti Western. Maverick fighting for his playoff lives. He needs to win this series, and other things have to happen for him to have a chance. And the Foolish Mortals, all he needs is one series win either this week or next week. Regardless, he's currently sitting at 16 points in a very good position. Taking a look at the rosters, Dr. Dickhead has Little Lilo the Bold, Dark Fina, Ibarra, Astrius, Lucio, Camilo, Minwu, Seymour, Murmur, Zazan, and Joker. Maverick has Velis, Skahal, King of Leonis Mont, Halloween Little Lila, Agrius, Gargus, Ravi Swinner, Solir, Mustadio, Liarte, and Glaciella. I left this series for last because last week I did the same thing with Maverick because everybody said in the Discord that Maverick and Spike was the most hyped matchup, and everybody in this Discord this week said that Maverick and Dr. Dickhead was the most hyped matchup. So if people are in the Discord calling for a specific matchup, I'm just going to leave it for last regardless, because I think last is the most hype. So if people are calling for it, that's how I'm going to do it going forward. So anyway, the team here from Dr. Dickhead, he has a number of options that he could go, but realistically, until he shows me that he's not going to run Little Lilo the Bold, Dark Fina, Zazan, I'm just going to assume that he's running that. It is 11-4 overall record, and Maverick, that is a very tough team to face. The only advantage that he has is that there's probably a good chance he'll run it, and so maybe it's slightly predictable is the only thing that I could say. That doesn't mean you can necessarily just beat it, though. From Maverick's side, what he brings out here, it's honestly tough to say. He has been very, very reliant on like that triple mage comp. He has done that quite a few times in the past. He's busted out like the Halloween Little Lila, or he's done Skahal, Gargus, Solir a number of times. He's done Halloween Little Lila with, you know, a couple 70s before. And I think he's just very reliant on some of those like lower cost UR mages. So I would not be surprised to see any of those come out. Have not seen Mustadio yet. Only seen Velis one time. I am still curious to see if we will ever see the Velis Skahal Liarte combo. I still think that might have some potential, but I'm curious to see what he brings. I think it's almost a guarantee that Dr. Dickhead goes with his dark comp that he's been running all season. What will Maverick have to try and combat it? Can Maverick keep his and Jesus' playoff hopes alive, or will Dr. Dickhead claim the 4th and final spot before the final week? Let's go and find out and jump into game 1. All right, guys, game number 1 here on the left side. We've got Dr. Dickhead's Little Lila the Bold and Little Lila Halloween coming up from Maverick. I always say this, but when there are multiple Little Lilas in the battle, bless it, that is confusing. I hope I don't confuse that at all during this fight, but we'll have to see what happens. So the Little Lila Halloween, most notably this season, was a great rush strategy versus Turambar earlier in the season, and that is a Mustadio sighting. We have not seen him yet this season. That is Little Lila Halloween, Skahal, Mustadio. She's rushing immediately, actually. Level 4 Aeroga does not kill Zazan in one hit, though. That is not great for Maverick here, as Little Lila the Bold is going to go for a buff. She's going to go slash resist piercing, get her heal up. Mustadio cannot reach, but he can channel sweet support on the party. So this will be interesting to see. Little Leela charging forward. Law of Invigoration comes out from Darkfina, so she has heals turned on. That actually might be really good for Maverick, because she did not get her re-raise on, and I don't think she's going to have time to this fight. Skahal is going to channel something. It almost looks like he's going for a limit break, but he's going to go Zombie Transformation. He's basically got 3 lives on the table. This is actually a really good early start from Maverick. I think Jamming Edge comes out, though. 40, 82. It's some damage, but not a huge deal. Can Little Leela get a buff, like a big thing on the back line? No, she goes for single target damage on the Zazan. I know that Maverick probably wanted her to go for Little Leela and Darkfina there. Mustadio Power Shot, piercing 3170. Crucially, that re-raise is also the thing that gives Darkfina AoE resist, so she is not bulky as she normally is. Delightful Destruction, that is a dead Leela. Leela on Leela combat. Good night. It is now a 2v2 with the 100 dark units versus Skahal and Mustadio here. So a channel coming out from Darkfina. What is this? Debilitating Counter comes out, drops the magic stat. Dystopia goes, one-shots the Mustadio. The Skahal is now low, but Thunderga Disposer is going to do a ton of damage. No way Darkfina survives that. Little Leela, does it proc the self-heal? No, it does not. I don't think she got Courage online. Pretty Paralyzer takes him out. I don't remember her getting Courage. Skahal might have the upper hand here, as long as he can get his ability cast off in time. What's going to happen? Thunder goes off. She does not have Courage. She's going to drop. That is a game 1 victory for Maverick in the Spaghetti Western. So he is trying to make the playoffs as desperately as he can here. He's going to need to pick off another game. That was a very close game 1. I will say, though, I think the biggest difference in that game was the fact that he had heals turned on Darkfina. I think if he didn't, Darkfina probably does her re-raise, which means she has more AoE resist. She has another life. It's hard to say what would have happened, but I think there's probably a good chance Dr. Dickhead wins that game 1 if he does not have heals on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dr. Dickhead make that switch for game 2. And does Maverick decide to bring the exact same comp for game 1? Obviously, he won with it, so I might feel confident with it. I don't know, man. Let's go ahead and find out. Let's jump into game 2. Game number 2 here, you guys. Same units from game 1. So I think these are probably the same 2 teams. Again, I'm curious to see if this is the same strategy for Maverick with the blitzing Leela. Did Dr. Dickhead turn heals off? Because I really do think that was probably one of the biggest things in game 1. So I have to see what the adjustment here is, if that is the adjustment. So it is the same 3 units on both sides. So that is my guess as to what the switch up would be. We'll have to see. Okay, so the positioning here, Little Leela's going to be able to blitz multiple here. It looks like Darkfina and Zazan going to take a hit. It crits Zazan. I don't think it crit last time. It drops him in 1 hit, and Darkfina is half health. Oh, man, this might be an even better start for Maverick in game 1. Oh, man. What's going to happen here? Mustadio, sweet support, so still not in range to hit. But this blitzing Leela seems to be kind of effective. She does not go for heal. She goes for Sorcery Strike and drops Little Leela in 1 hit. I say it was a better start from Maverick, and now I'm not certain. We'll have to find out. So Zombie Transformation comes out from Skahal, and this high octane fight is immediately a 2v2 again. My question here is, though, is Darkfina able to even... Barrage comes out. That's more damage. I don't know if she's even able to get in range. She might just literally go for a re-raise here. Courage is online for Little Leela also. That is way bigger. She did not get that off in game 1. What is the cast time here, though? Thunderga is going to go off before the re-raise. She is done. It is a 1v2, and Maverick is trying to desperately make the playoffs here. He has a 2v1 advantage right now. He needs to win this game 2. Little Leela is a tremendous unit, though, and has Courage and has her self-heal. Pretty Paralyzer takes him out. It is now a 1v1, Courage on one side, and re-raise on the other. Oh, man. This is going to be incredibly close. Skahal's going to go first. Flare's going to come out. I think this has to hit Courage. It does not. 63-21, so the self-heal is going to go off. Did not proc Courage, though. That's pretty massive. So Spirit Breaker's going to come out, proc Skahal's Courage. So need to hit Skahal 2 more times, and you need to hit Leela 2 more times, I think. Unless this procs. The one thing I will say, though, that Little Leela the Bold just moved forward. She should have stood still. That's going to slow her CT down a little bit. The flare goes off. Oh my god, Skahal didn't move. He's going to go again. Thunder procs the Courage. I think Little Leela might have just tossed this game by moving forward. If she would have stood still, she was already in range. Who goes first? Who goes first? They're both 1 hit away. What's going to happen? Little Leela has 1 health left. Skahall's going to go first. She's going to literally get auto-attacked by his staff. And Maverick is going to win game 2 with a Skahall standard attack, just attacking with his staff. My goodness. I don't think we had a single 3-game series today, but there were some bangers. Holy cow. And Maverick, good job, because you just single-handedly kept the standings of the Heindler division very interesting going into the final week. Without this series, it would have literally been locked up, all 4 seeds, and they might have shuffled in placement a little. But now it is very interesting in the standings. I will go over that in a couple minutes. I'll get the graphic edited up and we'll go over it. But wow. My goodness. Congratulations to Maverick on keeping not only him, but Little Leela, Jesus alive in the playoffs. I'm just so like confused right now as to what just happened. So, but yeah, Jesus and Maverick and Dr. Dickhead are now fighting for the final spot. So this will be really, really interesting. GG's to both players. Both games were insanely close. I'm honestly a little sad that we didn't get a 3-game, but that's all right. Let's go ahead and check out the assist leaders, the kill leaders, and the standings after the first 8 weeks. All right, guys, so after 8 weeks, this is the assist leader leaderboard. In first place, we've got Zazan of the Foolish Mortals with 38 assists, Naya of the Materia Hunters with 35, and Titus of the Fire Ferrets with 32. After that, a pretty significant drop off, but wouldn't you know it, it's 2 more of the Foolish Mortals. Again, he's ran nothing but those 3 units together. They've been pretty successful for the most part. Little Leela the Bold with 22 assists, and Dark Fina with 20. Salir of the Spaghetti Western in 6th place, a 3-way tie there with 19 assists. Mia of the Strawhats with 19, and Sakura of the Fire Ferrets also with 19. Excuse me, Yuna in 9th place of the Strawhats with 18 assists, and Kilfei of the Rock Boys with 17. As for the kill leaders, no surprise, it is still Dark Fina in first place with 20 kills. We do have a 2-way tie for second, however, with Flagbearer Glassy of the Materia Hunters with 18. 1.8 kills per game is pretty impressive, and Little Leela the Bold also still there, tied for second with 18 kills. Skahall of the Spaghetti Western, after putting on a show in that very last series, has 17 kills in 4th place. Pissarro of Sandrock with 15. Jaden Rundall with 14, Miranda with 13, a 2-way tie at 8th with Sakura and Perrine at 12, and Elia Rundall of the Rock Boys with 11. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for, let's take a look at the standings to see how this breaks down. And this is very, very interesting going into the final week. So first of all, first place, MacRain, he has officially clinched the #1 overall seed. So congratulations to MacRain. I mean, you can look at the plus minus of overall games here. He has just been absolutely dominant all season in a division that has been incredibly competitive, like top to bottom. He has just been crushing everybody. It's been incredibly impressive to watch. In second place, we have a 2-way tie between Ram9 and the Rock Boys and Turambar and the Fire Ferrets. Now, this is very, very interesting. They've both clinched playoff spots this week, so huge congrats to them. Might not be nearly as nerve-wracking next week because now they both know that they're in the playoffs regardless, but they are fighting for the 2nd seed. So whoever wins is guaranteed the 2 seed. Whoever loses will be either the 3 or the 4 seed depending on how things shake out there. And if you guys are not aware, the top 4 teams of each division make the playoffs, and we're actually doing a redraft for the playoffs. I don't know if everybody who's watching is aware of that, but that is what we decided to do at the very beginning of the season. So it will be an 8-team redraft with a ban phase right before the draft starts, and basically depending on how you finish, that allows you your choice of where you are in the draft order. So like if you're the 1st seed from one of the divisions, you're going to get one of the first 2 picks of where you want to be in the draft order. So if you want the 1st overall pick, or maybe you want to be last because you can pick 2 right in a row or something like that, getting a higher seed is beneficial to getting into that spot. So there is something still on the line for those teams. But this is where it gets incredibly interesting, is this 4th team to make the playoffs here. Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals, it seemed like he was probably a lock for the playoffs a few weeks back, but now it's kind of anyone's game. He is now sitting at 16 points, and I will say he plays against MacRain and the Materia Hunters the final week, so that is no gimme. That is, nobody has beat MacRain up to this point, so that will be a very tough series. JesusLBL and the Strawhats probably thanking Maverick over and over at this point because Maverick just beat Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals and kept his playoff hopes alive, excuse me. And Maverick, obviously winning that series, is still in the thick of it. Bebop's crew and Spike, Xathria and the Ghostbloods, unfortunately, will be in the toilet bowl, along with Catrah, the Sandrock, and JEBAW and the Sappers. But this 3-way scenario here just got very, very interesting. 3 teams fighting for 1 spot. Now, I want to break down for you guys really quickly. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to dip out, I totally understand. And, you know, you can just check out week 9 next week. That being said, I want to break down how the tiebreakers work between these teams to try and help you figure out who is most likely to make it, who could make it, stuff like that. So, first of all, Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortal still controls his own destiny. If he beats MacRain, he's in. No questions. If he beats MacRain, he is in the playoffs. No problem. If he loses 2-0, and let's say Jesus or Maverick, you know, pass him up in points, obviously they'll be there. If Jesus and Maverick are both at 17 and Dr. Dickhead is at 16, Jesus will win that. Jesus beat Maverick head-to-head, so he has the tiebreaker there. Let's say there's a 3-way tie at 17 points. So let's say MacRain beats Dr. Dickhead, but Dr. Dickhead takes 1 single game. Dr. Dickhead will win that tiebreaker in a 3-way tie. The reason for that is that the Foolish Mortals beat the Strawhats beat the Spaghetti Western, and the Spaghetti Western beat the Foolish Mortals. So the first tiebreaker that we would go to that actually would be some sort of differential thing, like not all be the same, would be this plus-minus total game loss. And as you can see, even though he's at only 16 points, his plus-minus is very, very good. And in this hypothetical scenario, these 2 teams would probably be either like +2 or +1, and he would be +4. So Dr. Dickhead, if this is a 3-way tie between these 3 teams, the Foolish Mortals will be the team to make it. Now, if it is a 2-way tie between the Foolish Mortals and one of these teams, that is the big thing, right? So if it's the Foolish Mortals and the Strawhats both tied at 17 and Maverick were to lose the last week, Foolish Mortals would make it. The only way that Maverick makes the playoffs is that if it's a 2-way tie between Maverick and Dr. Dickhead. If that is the, or if Maverick, you know, has 17 and these 2 teams have less. Obviously, if Maverick has the most points, he'll make it. But otherwise, the only tiebreaker that Maverick would win is a 2-way tie between him and Dr. Dickhead. Otherwise, it is most likely Foolish Mortals and then Strawhats probably coming up second. So it's kind of wild. I know that might have sounded really confusing, me breaking down a couple of, you know, a bunch of different things there without getting too into it. But it's coming down to the last week. I was a little nervous that all of the playoff spots might be decided this week, especially after seeing Ram 9 and Turambar win their series. But that last one made it very interesting. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm very excited for the Rundall division next week, or Rundall division tomorrow also. I think that's going to be a banger. I think the divisions are looking really interesting coming down to the end of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate all the love and support. And you guys have a wonderful day.